What makes a billionaire so untouchable suddenly fall faster than a dropped poker chip? And how does the king of Las Vegas, one of the most powerful men in gambling history, lose everything almost overnight? Today, we're breaking down the story behind Steve Wynn's shocking downfall.
And there are certain people, very intelligent people, who do not choose to live that way, and they're not wrong.
And they're called commercial bankers.
Because what happened wasn't just a headline or a scandal, it was a chain reaction that rewrote the future of the entire Vegas empire. And once you hear how deep this story goes, you'll never look at a casino the same way again. Before Steve Wynn became the face of Las Vegas luxury, he was just a kid from New Haven, Connecticut, born in 1942. His dad, Mike Wynn, ran bingo halls, small-time gambling spots that felt more like dusty rooms than glamorous casinos. But those bingo halls shaped little Steve.
Gentlemen and ladies, place your bets. Let the games begin.
He grew up around flashing signs, loud rooms, and the strange excitement that comes when people chase luck. And then, everything changed when Steve's father died suddenly. Wynn was still in college, barely an adult, and suddenly he was running the family business. Most kids his age were stressing over finals. Wynn was trying to save a gambling company from falling apart. He managed to sell off debts, salvage the business, and somehow turn chaos into a chance. That ability to take a mess, flip it around, and build something bigger? That would become the pattern for the rest of his life. In the late 1960s, he made a move that felt reckless to everyone but him. He moved to Las Vegas, a place that was still rough around the edges, filled with neon lights, cheap buffets, and a whole lot of mob rumors. Back then, Vegas wasn't the luxury playground it is now. It was smoky, loud, and kind of ugly. Wynn didn't just want to join Vegas, he wanted to remake it. He bought a small stake in the Frontier Hotel, which gave him entry into Vegas's business circles. These weren't boardroom businessmen. They were power brokers, hustlers, big-money gamblers, and people who made deals over glasses of whiskey at 2 a.m. This was the city's underbelly, and Wynn fit in better than expected. With every meeting and every handshake, Wynn climbed higher. He learned who controlled what, how casinos made money, and how to turn a quiet property into a money-making machine. It was the early foundation of a legend. By the late 1980s, Wynn wasn't just another Vegas businessman, he was making moves no one had ever seen before. And in 1989, he shocked the world with his first masterpiece, the Mirage. Imagine Vegas back then. Cheap rooms, tacky carpets, and slot machines older than your grandparents. And then Wynn drops a resort that cost nearly $1 billion. People thought he was out of his mind. $1 billion? For a hotel? But Wynn wasn't building a hotel. He was building an experience. The Mirage had a giant exploding volcano, a massive aquarium, waterfalls, and details so over the top that newspapers literally laughed at the idea. Until it opened. Within a year, it became the highest-earning hotel in the world. The volcano became a symbol of Las Vegas's new era, Wynn's era. Then came Treasure Island, leaning more into spectacle. And then came the crown jewel, the Bellagio. At the time, it was the most expensive hotel ever built. People joked it was a palace. Crystal chandeliers, fine art, dancing fountains. It looked like something from a dream. Someone once said, Wynn built a place where even millionaires feel poor. And honestly, they weren't wrong. The Bellagio made Vegas fancy. It pushed Vegas into the luxury lane. No more $2 buffets and smoke-filled dens. It became a city for whales, celebrities, high rollers, and anyone who wanted to feel like royalty. But Wynn wasn't done. In 2002, he launched Wynn Resorts. And in 2005, he opened Wynn Las Vegas, a giant curved golden resort that instantly became one of the most profitable hotels on the Strip. And then, he did something most American casino owners couldn't even dream of. He cracked into Macau, the real gambling capital of the world. Wynn Macau printed money. It grew so fast that it helped make Wynn a billionaire several times over. At this point, Wynn wasn't just successful, he was a legend. He was the guy who didn't follow trends. He made them. Vegas followed his vision. When he built something, everyone copied him. If he said a design was bad, it changed. If he wanted to move a wall, they moved it. He shaped the modern casino industry more than almost anyone alive. But the higher you climb, the harder the fall. Before we move on, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and smash that like button. Thank you. Let's get back to it. You can't talk about Steve Wynn without talking about the man himself. He wasn't quiet. He wasn't humble. He was sharp, loud, confident, and borderline obsessive. People said he could walk into a room and instantly take control, even if he didn't say anything. His public image was part genius, part mad artist. He had an eye for design that made him famous. He'd spend hours deciding where a plant should go or what shade of beige a room should be. His staff joked that he could see things others missed, even tiny flaws in a tile or an artwork. But the flip side, Wynn had a temper. Employees described him as demanding, unpredictable, and sometimes intimidating. If something wasn't perfect, he'd explode. Perfection wasn't a request, it was a rule. And for years, that rule built billion-dollar resorts. He was also extremely powerful. Politicians wanted his support. Investors followed his lead. He was seen as the king of Las Vegas, the guy who revived the city more than once. But even kings have enemies, and cracks were forming long before the world noticed. Before the big scandal hit, there were already warning signs around Wynn. Some were small, some were loud, and some were buried under layers of business deals, lawsuits, and drama. For starters, Wynn had a long and messy relationship with his ex-wife, Elaine Wynn. They divorced more than once, fought over shares of the company, and battled for power inside Wynn Resorts. Their arguments weren't private. They were public, ugly, and high stakes. At one point, Elaine accused Wynn of manipulating stock deals to push her out of control. Then came SEC investigations about stock transactions that didn't look right. They didn't destroy him, but they didn't go away either. They just floated around like dark clouds. Wynn also became known for buying insanely expensive pieces of art, hundreds of millions of dollars worth. One time, he accidentally put his elbow through a Picasso painting. Yes, an elbow. Yes, a Picasso. He later joked about it, but investors started wondering, is this guy careful with anything? Behind the scenes, there were whispers, complaints, stories from employees that didn't match the public image of the brilliant billionaire. But none of it prepared the world for what was coming. January 2018, the Wall Street Journal drops a bomb. Multiple women who worked for Wynn, manicurists, servers, hotel staff, accused him of sexual misconduct. These weren't small accusations. These were stories describing abuse, pressure, and fear. There were whispers that if a woman worked close to Wynn, she had to be careful. The article also revealed something explosive, a 2005 settlement where Wynn allegedly paid $7.5 million to a former employee. That settlement wasn't public until now, and suddenly the world had questions. Wynn denied everything. He said the accusations were preposterous and part of a plot by his ex-wife. But the Wall Street Journal kept digging. More stories came out, more women came forward, and the casinos, once his kingdom, fell into panic. Wynn Resorts board went into emergency mode. Nevada regulators started investigating. Massachusetts regulators launched their own investigation because Wynn Resorts was building a billion-dollar casino there. Political leaders began returning donations from Wynn as fast as they could. And investors? They ran. Wynn's stock started crashing. In just a few days, billions of dollars disappeared from the company's value. The empire was shaking. As investigations unfolded, the picture became even darker. Dozens of employees were interviewed. Many described Wynn as someone who held extreme power over staff, so much power that people didn't feel safe speaking up. Some employees claimed that complaints vanished or were covered up. Others said they warned management, but nothing happened. Investigators found signs of a culture where Wynn was protected instead of questioned. Documents showed that the company handled issues quietly, without drawing attention. Regulators weren't happy. They saw this as a failure, not just of one man, but of the entire corporate system around him. The financial side hit hard. Wynn Resorts' stock dropped by more than 18% in a week. That's billions gone. Shareholders filed lawsuits. Big investors demanded answers. Some even called for Wynn to step down before he destroyed the company completely. In politics, the damage spread too. Wynn had been the finance chairman of the Republican National Committee. After the allegations, he resigned. Politicians who once smiled next to him on stage suddenly wanted nothing to do with him. Donations were returned, photos were deleted, people pretended they barely knew him. And the public? They were shocked. Wynn had built an image as a creative genius, a visionary businessman. Now he was seen as someone who used power in the worst possible way. It wasn't just his behavior under scrutiny, it was the environment he created. The final blow came when regulators revealed that Wynn Resorts executives had failed to report major complaints against him. For a casino company, especially one in a highly regulated industry, that's basically a death sentence for leadership. Wynn realized the walls were closing in. On February 6, 2018, Steve Wynn resigned from his own company. The company with his name on every building, every sign, every brochure. He didn't step down slowly, he didn't fight, he was gone overnight. A billionaire, a Vegas king, a global icon, gone, just like that. After he resigned, things got even worse. Nevada regulators fined Wynn Resorts a record-breaking $20 million for failing to investigate the complaints properly. Massachusetts regulators followed with their own $35 million fine and forced the company to overhaul its entire leadership structure. Wynn himself was banned from ever working in Nevada casinos again, unless he went through a special approval process. His name, once a badge of luxury, became radioactive. Universities removed his name from buildings. Museums distanced themselves. Awards vanished. A man who once shaped cities now found himself erased from them. The Wynn empire survived, but Steve Wynn's reputation didn't. Steve Wynn's downfall wasn't just about a scandal. It was a story about power, silence, and what happens when a company builds itself around one man instead of strong values. He built modern Las Vegas, no doubt, but he also built a system that failed the people inside it. And in the end, that system destroyed him. For more deep dives like this, subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.